Okay, today I'm starting a new series of videos about the repair of my air conditioning system on my '78 Corvette. I'm starting totally from scratch. The car has been stripped of all the AC equipment except for the evaporator. And today I'm just going to show all the parts that I purchased and where I got them, and tell you a little bit about the deal that I got on them. I searched around until I could get the best price on everything, because a lot of times if you go with Corvette America, Corvette Central, Eckler's, and those Corvette specific places, you pay a lot more than you need to. So I just thought I would share today the parts that I got, and then show you what I'm going to be doing with my car. It's a new project I'm starting. Like I said, it's the middle of December, and you're not really thinking about AC much, but when you got the time to do it, that's the time to get started. So go with me on this journey, and I'll show you all the parts that I got today. Alright, first of all, let's go take a look at the car, and I'll show you the one part of the AC system that's installed. That would be the evaporator. When I bought the car 10 years ago, the guy had this evaporator brand new in the box. It was a Delco. It was sitting inside the car. I guess he had plans of replacing it, never did. So when I pulled the engine out to do the performance work that I did, I went ahead and installed that new evaporator. It's sealed off and everything. And the other part that's installed here on the car is this vacuum reservoir here. I actually purchased that at Napa Auto Parts. They had those in stock, and they were just universal vacuum reservoirs for the vacuum operated dash dampers, plenum dampers, and it also includes a check valve that during periods of time when the engine has low vacuum, the dampers continue to operate because there's vacuum stored inside this canister. So those things you can pick up at Napa, probably some of the other auto parts places you can get them. Probably Dorman, somebody like that might make those. So that's the two parts that are still on the car. And as you can see, I've already pulled all the other liquid lines and hoses and manifolds, and also the condenser has been removed. This was originally an R12 car. I'm converting it over to R134a. So I'm starting scratch with all new parts. Okay, so let's go over the parts that I got. First of all, this air conditioner system is the CCOT. That would be cyclic clutch orifice tube system, which is the simplest system and the most trouble-free. From Corvette Central, I found a nice guide on their website because I didn't know what the charge was as far as the refrigerant and the oil goes, and this little guide goes over it, and it tells you what the charge is for the different years, what the oil charge is depending on what compressor you have. So this is a very nice little guide here. This here tells you how much oil each of the components take when you start from square one, totally a dry system. Down here is your charging procedure for the different years. It tells you how much. And then remember, when you start to go with the R134, it's going to take slightly less refrigerant than the R12 does. This guide here says it's approximately 8 ounces less. So I'll probably start by charging it by weight to some amount and look at my pressure gauges and then adjust it from there. So that's the first thing. It also has a nice section up front that explains all the different system operations for the different Vettes. Like I said, mine's the cyclic clutch system. So there's no suction throttle valve or expansion valve, POA valve, or any of that stuff that's not as reliable as the fixed orifice like this system is. Anyway, from Advanced Auto Parts, they actually had the hose assembly. This is the one that bolts onto the back of the compressor. It has the high and low side hoses attached to it, and they connect it to the condenser and the receiver dehydrator. And they actually had one in stock. So I don't know if this is something they intend on keeping in stock or not, but I did get the only one they had. I happen to live close to an Advanced Auto Parts warehouse, so they have a few more things than most, but the part number to it is T55520. Also from Advanced Auto Parts, I bought 8 ounces of PAG 150 oil, which is recommended by the compressor manufacturer, so I'll be using that. From Davies Corvette, I found the best price on the condenser. Now, AutoZone shows a condenser for the 78 Corvette for $219, and they also showed the hose assembly online, which I built myself a shopping cart, and when I was about to check out, the system informed me that they did not have the condenser and they did not have the hose. So that's how I ended up with the hose from Advanced Auto, and the condenser I bought from Davies Corvette, which happened to be the best price I could find at $269. That's a Delco part. It came all wrapped up in plastic, tested for leaks, supposedly. It's made in Mexico. So that's the condenser that I purchased. Also from Davies Corvette, 2 brackets that hold the condenser on. Those part numbers are 756-105 and 756-106. There's one for left and one for right. Two hardware kits to install the brackets and the condenser. 300044 and 300069. That's bolts, washers, grommets that you need to actually bolt the brackets to the condenser and the condenser to the car. Also a forward liquid line. I replaced mine because the threads were damaged both ends. It's a part number 741231. That's the forward liquid line. And there's also a rear liquid line with a service port. That's going to be part number 741244. This one is aluminum. The one that came off the car was steel. It's a pretty nice looking piece. Price wasn't too bad on it. It was a little bit better than some of the other vet places. As far as Davies Corvette, they're from Newport Richey, Florida. Let's see if you can pick up that. They have a website. I also printed out just a schematic of the system, showing the liquid line there in green. It's a little tricky to get just the right parts for the AC. You have to really look and be careful when you order them. There is a little bit of difference, as far as I can tell, between the L82 and the L46 car. So you're going to have to check that out and make sure you're getting the right one. Corvette Central I was looking at for the liquid lines, and they actually had the wrong picture that went with their parts. So I'm not sure if their picture just wasn't correct or if the part wasn't correct or what. So word of caution, be careful about getting your parts when you order them. Okay, and then from AutoZone, I purchased a new compressor. And I've had good luck with the compressors from AutoZone, the actual Compressor Works compressors. I've had good luck with those, so I'm going to try another one. The part number to this one is 620206. Also from AutoZone, I bought the R134 conversion. Comes with the low side and two different high side adapters. On the R12 systems, I've run into several different sizes of threads on the R12 high side. So this one, if you look at it, it says fits most R12 vehicles except some GM models 91 through 94. This happens to work on mine. I've already checked it out. Seems to be fine. Also, a new low pressure switch. Now, this is not a cyclic pressure switch. This is a low pressure switch. So if the system becomes low on pressure, the compressor will not turn on and destroy itself. It's a number MT0499. Also from AutoZone, a new connector for the low pressure switch, MT0139. I also purchased a connector for my thermal cyclic switch, which is how my system works. It's a thermal switch, not a pressure. This one actually is designed to go on the compressor coil. It has a built-in diode, which I'm going to cut this heat shrink off and remove the diode. You don't need it at the switch, you need it at the compressor coil. It's a suppressor to keep from arcing the contacts of the switch. So I'm going to remove this one because this one's going on the thermal switch. Then next is the orifice tube, MT0097-1, and a complete seal kit. All the O-rings and seals that you need to put the system together. Looks like it's a model number, part number 26729. Now the thermal switch. 35720. This is where I'm going to be using this connector. I'm going to remove the diode and use this connector. It fits. The ones on my car are kind of ragged out, so I decided to go ahead and replace them. This is the thermal switch. This cycles the compressor, prevents evaporator freeze up. This will attach to the evaporator pipe just below the orifice tube. And as it senses low temperature, it kicks the compressor out to prevent the evaporator from freezing. And then from Home Depot, I actually bought some new heat shrink tubing. I'm not sure which one's going to be the right one, but I'm going to shrink some tubing back over this connector when I remove the diode. Give it a nice finished look. And you're going to need a 2-inch long 12mm bolt for the compressor. Goes right here. That is the only metric bolt that you'll need to install the compressor. That bolt goes through the bracket with the slotted hole so you can tighten the compressor belt. And that's the other two bolts that go with it. This is just one of the bracket bolts, and this goes actually through the compressor into the bracket. That's the pivot side of it. I guess you could call it a pivot bolt. And then also a accumulator 33176. Comes with a variety of pipes, so it fits a variety of different vehicles. It's just a matter of picking out the one, which I think is this one here. It's going to have your refrigerant lines going in the right direction. It also came with some O-rings. Got 2 service ports on it. Might use one of those as the low side charging port. I'm not sure yet, because there's also one on the hose manifold here. That's the low side charging port. Could use that. Okay, and a little shot of the old parts. As you can see, I tried to clean this one up. This is the rear, what they call the rear AC liquid line with the service port. It's steel, and right around the O-ring area there it's pitted, and then the threads are partially stripped. Same goes for the forward liquid line. But I've compared them to make sure I have the right parts, and it has all the right bends and everything in it. And then the old hose assembly. I figured after almost 40 years it's time for a new one. And then the old low pressure switch, the thermal cyclic switch. It's kind of covered in grease and dirt. And the old compressor. This compressor was fairly new when I bought the car. The guy had put it on the car, but it sat open for many years, and so I'm just starting over from scratch with a whole new system. And then this is the bracket that holds the accumulator onto the plenum there where the evaporator is, and the little clamp that holds it on. Keeps it from moving around. Okay, so that concludes this video. I'm sure I'll be making another video about the AC system that I'm repairing. I finally did complete the interior work I was doing in the car, which I'm going to make another video showing how that came out. I'm really happy with it, so I'm going to make a different video for that. I had promised before I would share how that came out, and so I'm going to do that while I'm at it and show how that interior came out. Okay, thanks for watching.